just to preface, starts of the week are guys that, we're not going to go with these super chalk options.
Patrick
If you have
Mahomes.
Christian McCaffrey, you're starting in. If you have
Lamar
Patrick Mahomes, you're
Jackson.
starting him. If you have Lamar Jackson, you're starting him. You have Ezekiel Elliott, you're starting him. What we're trying to do is get into some of these names where, maybe the matchup isn't great, or maybe they had a questionable week one, and we want to tell you, hey, don't worry about that. Feel free to carry on, plug them back in, and I'll let you start it off. Who is your quarterback start of the week in week 2?
Yeah, my quarterback start of the week actually had a fantastic week 1. He was quarterback 3 on the week. And, going into this season, even through week 1, we've heard all this talk about let Russ cook in Seattle. How about let Josh Allen cook in Baltimore? Josh Allen with 46 passing attempts and 14 carries in week 1 in a game that they dominated against the New York Jets. There was no rhyme or reason for Josh Allen to be throwing the ball 46 times in this game, yet he still did. He's got the green light to run it whenever he wants. He just takes off, and, he did have 2 fumbles in this game. Some of them were pretty laughable, but he's going to have a ton of volume in this offense, and it looks like, at least after week 1, it's going to be a step up from last season. I don't want to overreact and act like this is going to be the norm for Josh Allen, but it was really, really nice to see him step it up a notch. And I think Stephon Diggs is going to be a huge, huge benefactor for Josh Allen. Diggs had a really solid game last week, 8 catches for 86 yards. He's going to work really nicely in tandem with John Brown in that receiving core. And when I look at week 2, they have another soft matchup against the Miami Dolphins. So I look at this game, I expect Josh Allen to be able to move the ball through the air to Stephon Diggs. I know John Brown has been dealing with some hamstring issues. Is it a hamstring? It might be a foot. Either way, John Brown has been in and out of practice. Have to double check on what it is. But either way, I think Josh Allen's going to be able to move the ball through the air on this defense. And the best thing about Josh Allen is the rushing baseline. I mean, 14 carries, 57 yards, and a touchdown last week against the Jets. And if you look at this Miami team, they just gave up 75 yards and 2 touchdowns to Cam Newton in week 1. They had a lot of trouble slowing down that rushing quarterback. So I look at Josh Allen after a really strong start to the year, heading into week 2 against a good matchup, good rushing baseline. He's got weapons around him. I expect Josh Allen to give you another really solid fantasy performance here in week 2.
Nice. I like that. I like that start of the week there. You went with the number 2 option. I'm going with the number 3, and I think one of the biggest themes that we saw in week 1 are these teams that we normally wouldn't think of with tremendous pass volume, like your Seattle Seahawks you mentioned, like the Bills, like the Green Bay Packers. In my start of the week, Aaron Rodgers in another
discount double check, baby.
That's right. In another NFC North battle, a divisional battle, and what should be a much easier matchup in the Detroit Lions. What I loved to see from a fantasy perspective for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers is the Packers went up with a lead early in this game, and they didn't stop passing. I feel like the 2019 Green Bay Packers would have eased off the gas a little bit. Hey, let's just run it up the middle. And you think, like we had all these offseason narratives about, A.J. Dillon's coming in. That means they're going to run a lot more. They brought in Jordan Love. Maybe they don't like Aaron Rodgers. They're not going to let him sling it out. Those offseason narratives fell so flat, at least in this first game, when they just roasted the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm expecting there to be just another, easy matchup where Aaron Rodgers can sling it out, where they're getting a lead. Maybe we shouldn't project him to be second on the week again with another, 31 fantasy points. In week 1, he was second in terms of red zone attempts. He had 12 of those. He was 4th on the week in attempts with 44. So if the volume's going to be there for Rodgers, we know he's going to be efficient with it. It's Aaron freaking Rodgers. There's not much more I need to say after that. And he was 3rd on the week in adjusted yards per attempt. So going vertical to MVS, to Allen Lazard, of course, Devontae Adams. And then they have a pretty nice run game. Aaron Jones was facing the lowest stacked box rate in week 1 as well. So I think this offense is going to be able to move, and I think they're going to be able to move with Aaron Rodgers, putting up 35 or more pass attempts in this game. Load him up. If you have a questionable matchup, one I heard was Deshaun Watson against Baltimore. If you're feeling uneasy about that one and you have Aaron Rodgers there, maybe you got him later on in your draft, just plug him in as that safer option. And don't worry about the wheels falling off for Deshaun Watson. So, but I like Rodgers a lot.
I like it. And this Detroit defense just gave up quarterback 8 performance to Mitchell Trubisky in week 1. I know they're getting Jeff Okudah back in the secondary, but they just lost starting corner Justin Coleman. So welcome to the NFL, Jeff Okudah. You get to guard Devontae Adams in your first game without a ton of help. So I expect Aaron Rodgers to feast in this game. I expect another massive game for Devontae Adams, and Rodgers should be in your lineup with confidence. I love the pick, Steph.